Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to see me. This is Outdoor Gear Addiction. Today, I'm doing a fun video. No stress, no worries, just my opinion on my top 5 favorite knives. 5 knives that made me happy. Starting out is the first knife that I got at Walmart that was over 20 bucks. Kershaw Blur. It is a speed safe. And it just feels so nice. Aluminum handle scales with rubber inlays. This is the first knife that I got that somebody put some attention into. You could tell, and I could certainly tell. And I was like, wow, this is not just a knife. I love this knife, and it got me into better knives. Recently I did put a Lynch deep carry clip on it. That thing rides nice and deep. I like it a lot. I definitely recommend that if you have a Blur and just want to give it some love, and try out that Lynch clip. This is a Ken Onion design. Ken Onion's well known in the industry, and he was the first designer I ever heard of. If you're looking for a knife that's going to get you started into more high quality knives and actions and materials, this is a great place to start. There's quite a few knives that have made me happy in between this Kershaw and this Spyderco, but I can only bring out 5, so we're going to jump ahead to the Spyderco PM3. You all know the action on this knife is awesome. And the ergos are good as well. Very good. It's an ugly knife, but it fits your hand really well. I wear extra large size gloves, and I can get all 4 fingers on there barely. If you're wanting a knife that's going to do work and hold up, this is a really good option. The PR3 has so many variations, different steels. You can get just about whatever you want. You also might notice I have a MXG deep carry pocket clip on here, and I really like the look of these. There are other companies on my board. I like working with Lynch. They have great products too, but this PR3 is a pretty great knife to own, and I enjoy having it in my collection. I have a PM2, but I don't carry it very much. This knife right here does what I want it to do, and it's a little bit lighter and a little bit smaller handle. This knife definitely brings a smile to my face. Alright, in comes the ZT. I think if you like Kershaw's, you're going to gravitate to ZT sooner or later, and that's certainly what happened to me. This is the ZT 0562 carbon fiber. Has a titanium liner lock back slab, and then the carbon fiber on the front, on the show side. This is a Rick Hinderer design, and I think you know where that's going to lead my next evolution. I do have a couple more ZTs, and I love ZT, and I'm going to buy more, but if you love your ZT for long enough, you're probably going to want a Hinderer. So that brings me to my last 2 knives that make me happy, that bring a smile to my face. I actually discovered Benchmade before I discovered Spyderco, and I'm still a Benchmade fan. I've had 15 or so of them, not a ton, but I've had enough to know that I love the brand, I love the axis lock, and I love the feel of a Benchmade, how they open and close. This is the Benchmade Adamus, full size. CPM crew wear. This blade, this knife is massive, and I absolutely love this knife. The blade's nice and heavy, so she'll fall shut. At 250 bucks, it's not a cheap knife by any means, but it's also not $1,000. It's also not 500 bucks. I've had this knife for a week, and even though I have quite a few pretty decent knives, I've carried this every day. The difference between number 4 or number 2, this is $250. And this is $450. $425, $500. Hinderer Eclipse 3.5. Beautiful knife. Now if you keep following the rabbit hole, y'all, you're going to end up wanting a Hinderer. And that's exactly what happened to me. I started out at Gerber, and then I went to Kershaw. Then I actually went to, honorable mention, Ontario Knife Company. This is the Rat Model 1. Or Rat Model 2. These knives, if you don't own this knife, then you're wrong. No, on a serious note, they are very affordable at $50 for the carbon fiber D2 model right here, all the way down to like $35 for the Model 1 or 2 in AUS-8. And these things are tools, y'all. I know the knife's going to hold up for me, and if it doesn't, I can replace it for $35. Back to this beauty here. A Rick Hinderer knife is what a lot of people, myself included, consider a grill knife. A knife that you really want. It's pretty expensive. And myself, I've carried this one day, even though this is a tool. It's an expensive tool, and I'm not going to beat the fire out of it, because it's my first one. If I run across a Hinderer used with some scratches, that will probably make my day, because that means I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's already scratched up, and it's literally just an awesome tool from then on out. I'm new to this Hinderer thing, and I don't have a lot of experience with this, but it feels really nice having this in my hand. Extra large size gloves again. They haven't changed. I love this knife. It's comfortable. There's no jimping here. When you actuate the flipper, your finger will actually just fall on smooth material. This is a very, very comfortable knife. This is a high quality American made knife, and probably 9 out of 10 of you all watching this video already know this stuff. And if you don't know about Hinderer, just don't even worry about it. I want more. There's lots of models. They are a production knife, but they're so popular, they go fast. And then you're pulling your hair out because you missed it at DLT, at Blade HQ, other stores, other places. USA Made Blade has these, and the drops don't last long. I was fortunate enough to pick this knife up through a mutual friend, and I'm shocked that I got my hands on one. So I did those in order, but what is my favorite knife? Which knife makes me smile the most? It's going to be this Adamus. This Adamus, I'm not afraid to use it. I love how heavy it is. This thing makes me smile. I'm a big dude, and this knife just really fits me. It fits my hand. It fits my personality, I guess. This knife makes me happy. I'd like to get my hands on the mini Adamus, but I don't think it's going to do. It's only going to do the trick for me. So this right here, this is it. If I had to get rid of all my knives except one, I keep this one. What do y'all think? I'd love to see a video response from you. If you haven't already done one, this is a fun tag. This is a fun open response. And this is a great way for us to get to know other YouTubers and to see knives we haven't seen yet. I know Grateful Panic's going to send me a knife that I've never heard of, and I'm kind of embarrassed. But hey, that's what it's all about, is learning and sharing. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. As cool as the EDC community is, as cool as the knife community is, there's always going to be a little bit of a nose flick. I've noticed it, I've seen it, and I think I've done it. I'm sure I have, and I apologize. I've had friends approach me after watching my videos and say, $150 is a budget knife? What, are you out of your mind? Well, Okay, there are different levels of budget EDC knives. I really do like higher quality materials, the name brands with the lifetime warranties, all that great service. So yeah, a lot of my knives are considered expensive to some, but that's the beauty in the knife community. You don't have to have 10 $500 knives to talk to someone who has 10 $500 knives. You can tell him or her about how you love your Kershaw Blur and how it made you appreciate knives and look for more high quality materials and look at other brands. I think Kershaw might just be what you call a gateway drug. And honestly, there are people who stick with Kershaws, have 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, and they love their Kershaw collection, and hats off to you. I get it. I love Kershaws and I love ZT, which are family members. What I've noticed is a lot of times people will show their most expensive stuff and say it's their favorite. Well, why is it your favorite? I legit just picked a $250 knife over a $450 knife. I like this knife better. I'm going to get more Hinderers. I'm going to get more ZTs. I still want to get a blacked out Spyderco Shaman. I love those things. I figured out I like big knives and I cannot lie. But that being said, I've noticed these high dollar knives show up, these pretty knives show up, but you don't see a lot of work knives. You don't see a lot of multi-tools. And I'm going to throw this in. This is another bonus, and I'm done with bonuses. The Ontario Rat was a bonus. And this Leatherman rebar or whatever multi-tool you choose and you will carry is an awesome EDC knife, and it makes me happy. This is one of my favorite knives that I carry more often than I show on my Instagram at Outdoor Gear Addiction. Go check me out. This is a great knife. And oh, by the way, it's not a Hinderer, it's not a ZT, it's not a Benchmade. We got a knife, we got all kinds of other tools, flathead, and my personal favorite, a 3D legit Phillips. I love having a Phillips on me. There's Phillips and flatheads everywhere. Flatheads ought to be banned, and if you use them, you ought to have to pay a $500 fine. Flatheads are stupid, except on knives, I guess. But flatheads in the real world, in the building industry, you should have to pay a fine, just like a carbon tax. But if you run across a flathead screw and you have a Leatherman or a Gerber or a Charade or an Ozark Trail, any of those things, whatever your budget will allow, if you have a multi-tool on you, you're so much better off. They're so handy, but they're not pretty. They're not super expensive. They're not Gucci. So people don't show them. People don't talk about them. People don't think about them. Sometimes a full-size Leatherman is a little heavy, a little bulky, a little chunky. People don't want to carry that. But there's great options from Leatherman, Gerber, and other companies that have pretty small, lightweight packages. Hey, no jokes from the Peanut Gallery. They have lightweight packages that's not going to get in your way, but you're still going to have mostly capable pliers and a mostly capable cheap blade. Maybe even a serrated blade you can get down and dirty with and not care. If I'm carrying a Hinderer or if I'm carrying any of these knives on the table, except for this one, then I'm going to be carrying a multi-tool as well. Well, I think I've rambled long enough, but I'm really pleased to share with you all what my top 5 knives are. Don't count, because that's not 5. But these knives make me happy. So let's hear from some more of you. What are your top 5 knives that make you happy? What's your favorite knife? If you could only have one knife, that's a bonus. That's Outdoor Gear Addiction's bonus question. Tag me in your response. I'd love to hear what's your favorite knife if you could only keep one. And don't cheat and say a multi-tool. Let's pick a knife and assume that you're going to have a multi-tool as well. After you leave your comment, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more weekly reviews of knives and EDC gear, RV camping gear, axes, hatchets, and much more. Go check me out on social media. Instagram is at Outdoor Gear Addiction, and Twitter is at Addiction Gear. Merry Christmas. God bless. Come back and see me.